Welcome to An Apple a Day, a podcast, a resource, a community. Share your experiences and learn from others as we overcome barriers and learn to live a happy, healthy life with a disability. Welcome to the community. Here's your host, Jimmy Apple.
Welcome to another episode of An Apple a Day. I'm your host, Jimmy Apple. Hey, how you feeling today, my friends? You feeling good? You feeling strong? You feeling better than you did yesterday? Excellent. You can't ask for better than that. Hey, I want to remind you, An Apple a Day is brought to you by www.famousapple.com. Famousapple.com is the home site for this podcast, so if you get a minute, check it out. While you're tripping around the web, make sure you stop by our group page on Facebook. It's called Living with a Disability. You can get there simply by going to www.famousapple.com/group. Hey, have we got a good one for you today? A very dear friend of mine stopped by today. She's been on the podcast before. Her name is Sara Bradford. She also goes by the name of S.J. Childs. Sound familiar? You may have been on her YouTube page. She has a show on YouTube. It's called the S.J. Childs Show. And she also has a podcast, also known as the S.J. Childs Show. She's probably the most knowledgeable person out there that I know of when it comes to autism. And she has a very special project that she's working on. And it's a huge project. It's, if you ask me, it's like the World's Fair. It's like the World's Fair and Woodstock got meshed together. There's entertainment, there's Class A speakers, top of the line, top-notch speakers. It's the 1 in 44 tour, the Virtual Autism Summit. Now, you're probably thinking, oh, okay, the Autism Summit. Before you start making judgments on this, you have to listen to what Sara has to say. Even before you listen to what Sara has to say, let me just explain what autism actually is. As a matter of fact, I'm going to have Dave explain what autism actually is. So sit back for a second, relax, and listen to what Dave has to say.
What is autism spectrum disorder? As per the CDC, autism spectrum disorder, ASD, is a developmental disability caused by differences in the brain. Some people with ASD have a known difference, such as a genetic condition. Other causes are not yet known. Scientists believe there are multiple causes of ASD that act together to change the most common ways people develop. We still have much to learn about these causes and how they impact people with ASD. People with ASD may behave, communicate, interact, and learn in ways that are different from most other people. There is often nothing about how they look that sets them apart from other people. The abilities of people with ASD can vary significantly. For example, some people with ASD may have advanced conversation skills whereas others may be nonverbal. Some people with ASD need a lot of help in their daily lives. Others can work and live with little to no support. ASD begins before the age of 3 years and can last throughout a person's life, although symptoms may improve over time. Some children show ASD symptoms within the first 12 months of life. In others, symptoms may not show up until 24 months of age or later. Some children with ASD gain new skills and meet developmental milestones until around 18 to 24 months of age, and then they stop gaining new skills or lose the skills they once had. As children with ASD become adolescents and young adults, they may have difficulties developing and maintaining friendships, communicating with peers and adults, or understanding what behaviors are expected in school or on the job. They may come to the attention of healthcare providers because they also have conditions such as anxiety, depression, or attention deficit, hyperactivity disorder, which occur more often in people with ASD than in people without it. People with ASD often have problems with social communication and interaction, and restricted or repetitive behaviors or interests. People with ASD may also have different ways of learning, moving, or paying attention. It is important to note that some people without ASD might also have some of these symptoms. For people with ASD, these characteristics can make life very challenging. Diagnosing ASD can be difficult since there is no medical test, like a blood test, to diagnose the disorder. Doctors look at the child's behavior and development to make a diagnosis. ASD can sometimes be detected at 18 months of age or younger. By age 2, a diagnosis by an experienced professional can be considered reliable. However, many children do not receive a final diagnosis until they are much older. Some people are not diagnosed until they are adolescents or adults. This delay means that people with ASD might not get the early help they need. And now, back to Jimmy.
Thanks for that info, Dave. That's something. Well, I'm not going to keep on fluffing this up because I want you to hear Sara. And if you're curious what the 1 in 44 stands for, Sara's going to explain that. If you know what it is, don't give it away. But I want you to hear Sara. I want you to hear what she has to say. And at the end of this podcast, Sara has a special gift for the listeners of An Apple a Day. So stick around and sit back, relax, and let me introduce you to Sara Bradford, aka SJ Child. So as I promised you, I have with us right now Sara Bradford, or as she's better known, SJ Child. How you doing today, Sara?
Hello. Wonderful. Thank you so much for having me, Jimmy. It's always so great to catch up with you.
Definitely. Now, I want to let everybody know, Sara was actually the first expert I ever had on the podcast, An Apple a Day, who had expertise in autism. And whenever I have a problem or a question from a listener, I turn to Sara. So, Sara, I want you to tell everybody what your qualifications are as an expert in autism.
Oh, well, that's a really great question.
Wait. Before you go on, I want everybody to take a seat, get a cup of coffee. This might take a little bit of time. Go ahead, Sara.
You're great. Thank you so much. Well, first off, I definitely will say I don't think anybody's an expert in autism, but I will definitely say I am a top specialist. I started off in my journey as a mom, and I started writing children's books about autism, became an author. I then decided to become an advocate with my school's my child's school. That introduced me to a lot of people in the autism community. I became a member of the Utah Autism Association, and also started my own podcast, as you know, which has led to so many amazing opportunities. At this time, I have spoken in several different countries about autism. I love to interact with families, with children, individuals, adults on the spectrum. And within this last year, have also discovered not only my husband, who had his diagnosis, but my daughter and I received our diagnoses within about 6 months of one another. And I don't even know if you know that yet, Jimmy, that I actually found out I was on the spectrum as well.
I didn't know that.
So I guess you're right. I kind of am an expert at my own life. But it's really given me this unique perspective to see, not only from a mother's perspective, but then as a wife, and a perspective to how can I better support and accommodate my husband, who I've been with for 18 years, love, cherish, and then to see, wow, now I can look at autism in a completely different view of my daughter, who is obviously 1,000% different than my son and husband, which then led me to start uncovering what that looked like for me and how I could be so similar to her, to my daughter, and that's how that came about. And I went and had what's called brain mapping done. Had a brain scan. And so for me, it was great because it was not someone's opinion. It was facts, it was science, it was showing exactly the way my brain's patterns function. And it gave me a great perspective to look at my own life and see, okay, that makes sense. And maybe in sensory issues when I was a child. And I remember the garbage truck, whenever it would come around, I would run to my room and cover my ears and like put the pillow over my head because the sound was so loud. It was just deafening to me. And it's interesting when you think about those things and think, why didn't anybody ever notice that? That's a strange thing. But no, now today, in 2022, we have this amazing scope of perception, all of this new data, research, and so much more information than even we had, a decade ago when I intentionally started on my autism journey to find out how I could better support my son. Hopefully that's a good rundown.
Well, that's amazing. That's amazing. I always knew you were an expert. Now I'm amazed. I'm amazed to find out that you're actually living it as well.
I know. It's really cool. I thought that I was going to do like a big live and tell everyone, woohoo, I'm on the spectrum. But I didn't. I really sat with the information for about 2 months before I expressed it online to anyone. And it gave me the chance to strategize those things in my past, like I said, and kind of how that made sense to me. But it also helped me to kind of reconnect with my husband and children in a way I'd never been able to before, because I was looking at the same, I like to think of it, looking through the same windshield as they were, not in a different car trying to look through someone else's windshield.
Well, that alone makes you even a better expert.
Yeah, definitely. It's just so incredible the amount of support that I have found in the autism community. I used to kind of feel like I was on the outside of things, that I had a hard time developing group relationships, or I could never be like a cheerleader because I just couldn't handle that group dynamic as well. But now that I can see and strategize where maybe I need more support or I need more confidence in those types of things, so many things have changed. And there's so many wonderful support systems I can give my children based on my own experiences now.
Well, now you wanted a gang.
Yeah.
Before, like you just said, before you were a cheerleader on the sidelines. Now you're a quarterback.
Now I'm the quarterback, right? That's so true. It's so true. And, our family's experience for us, every diagnosis we received was actually exciting and like a blessing for us because it showed us how much of a unit our family really was, that it wasn't comprised of all of these different parts, that it was different parts, but it was all of the same machine. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't see that at the beginning,
Well, the one thing I admired about you right from the beginning was that you didn't hide the fact that DJ had autism. You never hid that fact. And I think more people now, because of you, or partly because of you, aren't hiding the fact that their child has autism.
Yeah.
I think that's become a norm now. People aren't hiding the fact.
Yeah.
I hear so many people, they're not afraid to say, well, my child has autism or my child is on the spectrum.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
They're accepting of it, where years ago, that would be a secret that was kept in the closet.
Yeah.
That was a skeleton that you kept in the closet, and they would just say, well, my kid acts out. Or, to the far end, when I was a kid, the parent would smack the crap out of a kid for acting out.
Isn't that the truth?
And it was terrible. But now it's come to the forefront, and people are actually dealing with it, which is such a great thing.
Agreed.
And
absolutely. I think the wellness of our mental health as a country has come so far in being able to accept and identify that the more support and services and tools that are given, the better we are as a society.
Of course. And the stigma is starting to get stripped away.
Yeah,
Which,
absolutely.
Which is so important. Now, another big step is what you're handling right now, which is what's coming up. The Woodstock of 2022 coming up this week.
Oh, I can't believe it's coming so quickly. It's just snuck right up on me.
Snuck
Back
right
in
up.
January, right?
Snuck
Back
right
in
up.
January, my husband said, "Oh, 1 in 44. That's the current number of autistics diagnosed right now in the U.S." Now, I personally know that number is way off still, due to the fact that females and some other cultures have a harder time getting a diagnosis. So I'm quite sure the numbers are a little different than that. But as the CDC states, that 1 in 44 are diagnosed with autism in the U.S. today.
That's what that
So
1
that's
in
where
40.
I got this. Well, Dustin had the wonderful idea. Hey, why don't you do the 1 in 44 tour?
That's what that stands for.
Yes, that's what that means.
So the 1 in 44 tour, the Virtual Autism Summit.
Exactly. Where I have brought together 20 autistic presenters and autism podcasts, 4 live autism podcasts. We have 2 musical performances by autistic individuals as well. And it is going to be 2 days of jam-packed, great value information. We're talking for parents, grandparents, neighbors, cousins, families, employers, educators, anyone that involves themselves or has any type of involvement with human beings in general. They could get a really great value out of the speakers and performances that I have put together for this weekend.
You have to check
exciting.
this out. Let me tell you something. Sara is like a wild child. She's not one of these people that speak in a monotone voice and bores you to tears. If anyone can make this summit wild, it's Sara. And she's got 2, let me tell you, I just heard the music from them. She's got 2 musical groups. And if you think you're going to be put to sleep, this is not chamber music, trust me. Mm-hmm. This is like get off your ass and dance music.
Yes, we have great performances. I'm just so honored that I have the relationships set up with these people, that they trust that, I can bring them all together for this unique experience. And I'm really hoping to help give them all names, in the spotlight, because they're all up and coming advocates in the autism community. We have one Netflix cast member from Love on the Spectrum. Her name is Danny Bowman. And she is an animator who started her own animation company at 14, Jimmy.
Uh-oh.
We are talking about brilliant, absolute brilliant minds, super creatives, just forward-thinking people. And we have basketball stars and communications experts, parenting mindset coaches, influencers. We have a couple Instagram influencers that'll be there. So
really?
I'm really excited about the quality and all of the people that we've brought together for this.
Now, listen to this. This doesn't sound like an autism summit. This sounds like a get-together.
Yeah.
Right? It sounds like something fun. The influences. Now, are we talking about young influencers?
Yeah, younger influencers. We have 2 of them. One of phenomenally autistic, and she advocates for Black autistic women. Just such an incredible woman. Wow. And so brave, and, and all of them for being willing to come and share their stories with huge audiences, or just, they're so courageous. The other one is a little bit up and coming. She's a TikTok influencer.
TikTok?
And she does, yes, and she does like parenting style TikToks, and she, I mean, her page is going crazy. I just, it's been so exciting to watch all of the growth, of all of these people, because I'm friends with them. I look up to them, and vice versa. We all just have this wonderful quality of community that we are able to share.
What about you? What's your page address, Sarah? Because I want people to see you before they come. Because
absolutely. Well, my personal page, you'll have to, if you want to go over and see me, is Sara Bradford. Sorry, it's the long, confusing last name, and that's spelled SaraGullihur-Bradford. And you can also Google S.J. Childs, which is my author and host name for the S.J. Childs Show podcast. There you can find so much. I think there's like 7 Google pages about all of my stuff right now. So, woohoo, I've made it to Google, right?
If you didn't get those addresses, don't worry. They're all going to be in the show notes. You got to check this out. This virtual Autism Summit is going to be so cool. It's not going to be one of those boring events. It's going to be, you got influencers, you got TikTokers, you got rappers, you've got singers, there's so much going on. You're going to be like, you're not going to want it to end.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
I agree.
This is like, this isn't even like the Woodstock redo that they did a couple of years ago. This is like the original Woodstock coming to you with an autism tint to it.
Right? Yes, definitely.
This is no brown acid, though. There is no brown acid.
That's right. We have about 4 or 5 female autistic presenters, which is great, because I think that that's what a lot of people are really looking for. There's been information on, autism in males for so long. Like, it's easy to find that information. It's easy to go see The Good Doctor or go, see Rain Man, or those things that people have this idea of what autism looks like. But that's not it. If you've met one person with autism, you've met one person with autism. Like, autistics they are just as, out in the world as everyone else. And I think that it's going to be such a great way to display just all of these powerful, unique individuals.
And I do want to mention, you have Sarah as a host, and she has a co-host, Maria Daniels. And
yes.
Let me just tell you something about Maria. Now, I don't know Maria personally. Now, you hear how crazy Sarah can get. She can bounce off walls. But Maria owns a coffee shop and a coffee wagon. That's a lot of caffeine. So,
yeah.
Maria,
not to mention about 4 other businesses.
Yeah, but we're only worried about the caffeine right now.
Yeah, right. We only want the caffeine. Bring us the coffee, Maria.
So the caffeinated Maria and Sarah in one place.
Oh,
who remembers Pong as a kid? Remember the Pong balls bouncing off of the walls?
That's it, right?
We got 2 of them now.
It is going to be so much fun. And our producer, his name is Jeff Ravilla. He's a comedy guy. So believe me, we are going to be laughing, and it's going to be just such a great time. He knows how to produce a show. He is our producer of the Hopin platform. That's where you can find the event, the 1 in 44 tour on Hopin, HOPIN.
We're going to have that address also in the show notes. So
yeah.
Don't be worried about it. It's going to be there for you, and you're not going to want to miss this. Trust me. Even right now, if you're saying, I have no interest in autism, but you know what? You're going to want to be there anyway, just for the fun of it.
Right.
And then you're going to learn something where you're there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Autism, you probably know somebody. I'm going to guarantee you that you know somebody right now who's on the spectrum. I'm going to guarantee it. I'll bet my bottom dollar on it that you know somebody that's on the spectrum, whether it be a neighbor, a niece, a nephew, a brother, a sister, a cousin. You know somebody, and you might not even know it. But when you walk away from this summit, from the things that you learn, you're going to learn what to look for. And you might end up helping somebody.
I hope so. I hope that,
there's no
people
hope
take away.
there's
Right?
no-
They will. You're right. They will take so much value away from the summit.
There's no hope about it. When you get done with this summit, you're going to be able to walk away and say to someone, maybe you might want to have so-and-so check. Just mention it to your doctor or something. Because you're going to walk away with knowledge that you don't have right now. And it's not going to be something bad. Believe me, it's not going to be something bad. It's going to be something good. You're going to end up being able to help somebody.
Yeah.
And
I love that you said about knowledge, because our quote at SJ Childs is a little bit of knowledge turns fear into understanding.
Exactly.
And especially for kids, when they don't understand their peers, they react in fear, which then creates bullying and other things. But when we provide information to children and to adults to help them better understand the people around them, we provide safety and security and, companionship for people. It's so empowering.
I want to just give you a little scenario. Maybe you've seen your niece or your nephew, maybe your little brother, your little sister. They go out with a group of friends or a group at school and they go to recess, but they stay to themselves. And you can't figure out why. You try to prod them and push them and they don't want to. They just stay by themselves. Now that doesn't necessarily mean they're on the spectrum, but that could be a good hint.
Yeah.
That could be a tip that maybe there is something, maybe that could be handled by a doctor. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah,
a little bit of knowledge, that's all it is. A little bit of knowledge can help, and you might nip it in the bud.
Yep, exactly.
And this is what you'll learn with these people.
This is what you'll get. Exactly. You'll get all of these. And these experiences are firsthand experiences. These are not just textbook ideas of things that may or may not happen. These are real life experiences. I think they hold the most value.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Relatable for people.
Who knows better than people that have been through it? You could read all you want in a book. And, book knowledge is one thing. As they say, book knowledge is one thing. Street knowledge is something else.
That's right.
And I'm telling you, you'll be able to help somebody just by listening. You may not even care, but if you hear it, it's going to go in there. It's going to sink in, maybe in the back of your mind. Even if you just go to hear these people sing or just be part of the fun, some of this knowledge is going to sink in the back of your mind. And maybe a week later, 2 weeks later, a month later, you're going to notice something and it's going to ignite something in your head that you learned at this summit. And you could be the person that helps somebody, that saves somebody from a life of, life of hardship.
Being misunderstood, right? Yeah.
Right. I mean, Sarah's son. Remember we were talking about this back when we first met? Your son going trick-or-treating?
Yeah, that's a great story to tell. I absolutely love that one. In fact, I wrote a book based on that experience, because when we would go trick-or-treating with DJ, he loves to ask very unique questions to people. He has a very, very interesting academic brain. And he loves to ask people about just kind of unique questions. But when you go trick-or-treating, people open the door. They expect the child to say trick-or-treat, grab the candy, and go. DJ's style was, wow, they're opening the door to me. They might want me to come into their house. Maybe I should ask them about their dog. Maybe I could ask them what kind of car they drive, what their birthday is. And this really overwhelmed my neighbors. They did not understand what was happening. And so at first, the first couple of years, I was met with so much adversity, so much confusion and disinterest. And I found myself apologizing profusely to people, which is just sad. You should never have to do that for yourself or your family, because I didn't understand how to communicate to them that my son was communicating differently, but he just wanted to have this experience just as much as any other child. He was just experiencing it a little bit differently. So a couple of years ago, he was Garfield for Halloween, and on his little Garfield costume, I placed a label that said, "I'm autistic. Please be patient." And the response from the neighborhood was incredible. Once again, I just had to give them that tiny bit of knowledge to help them understand. My son wasn't being impolite by not following the standard trick or treat questions. He wasn't being impolite by wanting to come into their home. He was just experiencing it in his own way. That year, my neighbors spent so much time. They got down on his level. They answered the multiple funny questions that he wanted to ask them. And now we have these relationships set up with so many different neighbors that can not only, number one, identify him. Like if he wanders away from the house, now my neighbors know that, he's supposed to be at home. It doesn't ever happen. But if it did, I would be comfortable with that knowledge. But for them, now they're able to better help maybe their own friends or family. And like you said, anybody that they know that might be on the spectrum, because of that one tiny incident that gave them just a little bit more knowledge and experience. And how fun for them to finally be able to enter his world like the rest of us want to be, because you and I know, Jimmy, he's a genius. He's an absolute brilliant genius. He has a photographic memory. He memorizes like 134 languages, guys. I want one person to comment that they know 134 languages, and I will send you a high five or something. Because he's just such an incredible little human being. I just told him yesterday. He said, my mom and dad are such good parents. I said, well, why do you think that? And he said, well, because this dad or something on this YouTube is so strict and you're not like that. And I said, oh, well, that's nice that you kind of notice that's something that's a difference between other parents and us, right? And I said, well, I love you because you're handsome and you're brave and you're the smartest person I've ever met in my life. And here I am telling this to a 12-year-old who literally is the smartest person I've ever known. And I'm so proud of him. And he's come so far from the once nonverbal, spinning, flapping child that he was as a toddler. Now he's, with all of the intervention and the therapies and the support we've given him, we've had such success. I mean, he is very, very verbal. He loves to make friends. When we go places, he asks everyone, hi, what's your name? And, some people stop and tell him, and some people ignore him. What are you going to do? You can't please everyone. But the fact of the matter is that we all deserve a chance to be understood and to feel like we belong. And that's what I hope I'm bringing to everybody with my Facebook group, Autism Advocate Support Group, with the podcast, with the books, with the summit, is acceptance. Everybody wants to feel like they are accepted and belong. And that's what I want to bring to the world about me, about my children, about my friends. Yeah.
Well, you're doing a good job.
Thank you.
You are doing a good job. And I want everybody, Now, how can they get tickets to the 1 in 44 tour?
Yes, you can go to, like I said, Hopin, Hopin, and then look for and it's numbers, number 1, IN 44 tour, 1 in 44 tour. You can just Google that. I've made it a hashtag, so it's easy to find all of the information, the videos. Once you get onto the event page, oh wow, the producer has built this amazing event page. We have access to the amazing sponsors. We have 13 incredible sponsors. Please check them out. Check out their businesses. Just the fact that they came out to support this I'm so grateful and honored to share this space with them. You can check out the speakers, you can check out the schedule, and you can actually choose on kind of like your own personal agenda what speakers you'd like to listen to, and it gives you a lineup and a schedule to follow. Just really, really exciting to have put this together and be a part of it.
Excellent. And we're gonna have all this information in the show notes. So don't worry about writing it down right now. You're gonna have it all in the show notes. You're gonna want to check this out. The 1 in 44 tour, the Autism Summit.
Yeah.
And you're gonna want to meet Sara and Maria. And I'm dying to meet the producer now. He's a comedian.
You'd love him, Jimmy. You'd love him. He's just, next time he has a trivia show, I might just call you and invite you to come along to be a part of it. It is a blast.
Cool.
Such a blast. And I'd love to offer your listeners a little discount so that they might be persuaded to come and get a ticket.
Now look
so
at this.
Everyone who is interested, if you enter code autism, all caps, autism22, you can receive 20% off your ticket price today until the summit.
Look at that. I didn't know that was coming.
I know, surprise.
I didn't know that was coming. Well, that'll be in the show notes also.
Yes. So
excellent.
Please take advantage of that.
Excellent. Take advantage. Definitely. It's not often. Not often we get a discount. Autism 22. Excellent. Excellent. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm sure the listeners appreciate that.
My pleasure. I'm so glad to be able to bring this information, this important resources for, like I said, for everyone. It's not just for families. It's not just for, moms. It's for employers and educators especially. We're going to have communication expert there who he was diagnosed at 54.
Wow.
And he works with some of Hollywood's top vocal coaches. Maybe I need one of them. Right? So just such value and exciting, experiences that we get to share.
Excellent. Well, I know I'm going to be there.
Thanks, Jimmy.
I'm going to be there. I like I said, I want to meet the producer now.
And I should add, you can interact when you buy a ticket. You can interact, and you're at the live show. You can chat in the open chat forums. You can network. You'll be able to meet everyone, a presenter, podcast host, the hosts ourselves. You can interact with anyone you want to. That makes it so much fun too, because, when we get the audience to interact, we get to answer the questions from the community that are coming in. That's where we're really going to provide that value to families.
Is Maria bringing coffee?
Of course.
And
Maria's coffee, right? Let's hope that we have some coffee delivery. No, just kidding. Only for Ohio residents.
She's not bringing coffee?
Dang it. I wish we could do virtual coffee. It would just show up like the Jetsons, right? Have our little coffee, please, machine.
I'm going to have to make my own coffee for this.
I know. Dang it.
Well, Sara, this has been great. And
thank you.
I want to urge everybody to be there on Friday, August 12th, right?
Yep.
August 12th and 13th. You're not going to want to miss this. It's educational, but it's fun. You've heard this. I'm not going to say nut job or anything like that, but you've heard this woman, and this is her natural state. This is her on and off the microphone. This is her natural state. She's crazy. She's
crazy fun.
She's crazy. She's absolutely crazy. But she is a wealth of knowledge. When it comes to autism, I don't know anybody that knows more than Sara Bradford.
Oh, love that. Thank you.
And if you think for 1 second that autism is like it only affects the other person, you're dead wrong. And once you listen to this summit, once you listen to these people's experiences, like I said, I'll bet my bottom dollar that you're going to see someone and you're going to notice that they have the same symptoms that you heard about at this summit. And you might just be able to save them from a life of hardship by helping them get diagnosed early.
Absolutely.
So take the time and check out this summit. It's that important. I wouldn't push it if I didn't think it was. So
we're so grateful for your support too, Jimmy. So grateful.
No, I'm grateful to you and Maria for pushing this because it's that important.
Yeah, definitely.
So please make sure you check it out. All the addresses will be in the show notes for this episode, and I want to thank you, Sara, for really being behind this. You've been pushing this now for weeks, months.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm really trying to build it up and get everybody interested.
Anyone that's on Facebook that hasn't seen her advertisement is blind. So
they've been floating around, haven't they?
If you've ignored it, stop ignoring it. I'm telling you that right now. And now you'll see it under my name as well. I know I've passed it around a couple of times, but I'm going to pass it around every day for the next week.
Oh, thanks.
So make sure you check this out. Please. It's important.
Yeah.
All right, Sara, thank you so much for being with us today, and good luck with this.
Thank you. I had such a great time, and I can't wait to stay. We'll definitely be in touch.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Okay, have a great day today, and good luck with the summit.
Thanks, Jimmy. Talk to you soon.
Okay. Hey, I want to thank Sara Bradford, aka SJ Childs, for being with us today. Make sure you check out her YouTube channel, her podcast, and definitely stop by the 1 in 44 tour, Virtual Autism Summit, on August 12th and 13th. You don't want to miss that. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's, like I said, it's like the World's Fair and Woodstock meshed together. You're not going to want to miss it. And let me remind you, my friends, things can always be worse. That's right. Right now, there's somebody somewhere wishing they were in your position. So things can always be worse. Hey, we got a lot more coming up this week. You're not going to want to miss it. You've been listening today to An Apple a Day. My name is Jimmy Apple, and I'll talk to you later on in the week. Have a great one, my friends.
Thanks for listening to An Apple a Day with Jimmy Apple, your gateway to a happy, healthy life. Join our community at www.famousapple.com. See you next time.